Hi friends, it's Emily from the Vineyard Haven Library. Welcome to Poetry Week. April is actually Poetry Month, and there's something special called Poem in Your Pocket Day, which happens this upcoming week. And it's super fun because there's lots of songs that you might have learned when you were younger that are actually poems. And we'll learn about that as soon as we figure out which day of the week it is. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Today is Tuesday, April 13th, 2021. As we continue through our super fun new activity for our story time, we have our live story time tonight at 7 p.m. and we'll learn about some of the poetry books that we might be reading tonight. Now, what is poetry? Do you know what poetry is? Have you ever heard that word? What is a poem? Well, poetry is a collection of words, things that we use to say and talk to make our sentences, that express ourselves. They express our emotion, an idea that we might have. Sometimes it has a specific meaning, almost like a story. Sometimes it has a certain sound, and sometimes it rhymes. And sometimes it might not, and that's okay too. Poems can be super duper small, or poems can be super duper long too. And it's really exciting to write them, and it helps express, like we were talking about, how you might feel. So poetry in sign language, we take our hands just like this and put it across our chest. And then we squeeze it kind of like this. And then almost as if you're throwing words into the air. Let's try it again. Nice job! Here are some of the stories that we might read tonight. This one's called Guess Who Haiku by Deanna, Caswell, and Bob Shay. It's a new day on the farm. Muffled mooing announces a fresh pail of milk. Can you guess who from this haiku? So I think that what these haikus, which is a type of poem, are asking what type of animals might be in this story. That's exciting, and maybe we can try and figure out what sounds they make later. Birds of a Feather, poems by Jane Yolen and photographs by Jason Stemple. Flying solo, dining with a sidekick, or parading with their fellow feathered friends, birds offer endless fascination for those of us patient or lucky enough to catch a glimpse. Jane Yolen and photographer Jason Stemple wrote this story to give readers a chance to observe closely a brand new flock of these creatures in poetry and photographs. Very cool. So you can learn about birds by looking at the pictures and then hearing the poems that they use to help maybe describe those birds and maybe what they do. That's exciting. I bet you we could probably find a lot of those birds flying around out here on our island. This one is called Spring, an alphabet acrostic by Schnur, illustrated by Leslie Evans. Acrostic is a type of poem. Green leaves overhead, a rug of green underfoot, and the air between, sweet with the green smell of spring. The sights and smells of the vibrant green days and cool, tranquil nights of spring are provoked in this unique alphabet acrostic. Yellow daffodils bloom, kites fly high, and a newborn calico kitten sleeps curled in a basket as the season blossoms. So this sounds like this story is doing a lot of describing and telling us ways that we can picture in our heads springtime without having to maybe look at pictures. But as I can tell you, a sneak peek, some of the pictures in here are actually quite beautiful. Here's a sneak peek for you. And maybe we'll read this one tonight. This last one is a newer one within the last few years, and it's one of my favorites. It's called Out of Wonder, Poems Celebrating Poets by Kwame Alexander with Chris Colderly and Marjorie Wentworth. And the illustrations are by Akia Holmes. This has a lot of different poems inside from different types of poets and authors. A poem is a small but powerful thing. It speaks truths, asks questions about the world, about being human. From our first moments, we breathe language through the marvelous lens of rhythm and rhyme. Ooh, chilling. Out of gratitude for the joys of poetry, author and poet Kwame Alexander is joined by Chris Colderly and Marjorie Wentworth in paying a lyrical homage to 20 famed poets throughout the years. Their hearts sing and their minds wander through words. That sounds very interesting. And if we read this story tonight, we'll read just a few from it, and then we'll talk about poems, and maybe we'll make up some poems as we sing some songs. So some songs that we might have heard before that are actually poems are really nursery rhymes. So for example, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star or Hickory Dickory Dock, those are a couple of them that are poems, and some of them rhyme, and there are lots of other ones that might not too. There are some lullabies out there that are also rhymes, and it's just wonderful all the things that you can do with words. How many words can you fit together on a page? Can you arrange them in a different way to create your own poem? There's something super fun also called Blackout Poetry, where you can take a very, very old book that an adult says it's okay, and you can color out some words to create a whole new poem. You can also cut pieces out of a magazine that no one's using anymore and make words on a page, so it looks like a collage, but you're really making your own artwork. And it's unique because it's something that you've created that nobody else might have created before. And that's what's amazing about poetry. So today for our song, it's a poem, but as you will hear about it, you will hear that there is a rhyme to it, but it also tells a little bit of a story. It's called I Have a Little Frog. So we're going to pretend that we have a little frog in our hand. So we're going to cup our hands together just like this. I have a little frog. His name is Tiny Tim. I put him in the bathtub to see if he could swim. He drank up all the water. He gobbled up the soap. And when he tried to talk, whoop, he had a bubble in his throat. Whoop! Silly Tiny Tim. Should we sing it one more time? Okay, let's get Tiny Tim back in our hand. I have a little frog. His name is Tiny Tim. I put him in the bathtub to see if he could swim. He drank up all the water. He gobbled up the soap. And when he tried to talk, he had a bubble in his throat. That's silly. And you can kind of picture it in your head. I pictured Tiny Tim going into a pink bathtub, and the soap had bubbles coming all out of his little mouth. And that looks super silly to me. I'd love to see what you might have pictured, and maybe what happens next to Tiny Tim. Thank you so much for joining me today for our little impromptu story time introduction, and I hope you join me tonight for our live story time, where we will learn a little bit more about poetry and read some of these amazing titles. I'll see you tonight at 7, friends. Have a great day.